So I cannot believe we're talking about this because this is now a topic of discussion. It is the cheap shot by Breanna Stewart on Sophie Cunningham, which is a routine late screen and routine offensive foul. And it is hilarious. People being basically like, oh, the enforcer needs the enforcer. This was a routine screen. And if you guys don't know, again, when you set a screen, you have to give the defense time to adjust and time to react. So what you can't do is set your feet and be completely set in a time frame and not give the defender enough time frame to potentially dodge it, either step under or fight around it. And that's literally what happens here. So let's take a look. It is an offensive foul. They are not the same plays, by the way. Do you want to know what the difference is here? This is Sophie gets creamed by the screen. People are like, oh, Breanna Stewart. There's this semi-viral post being like, Breanna Stewart cheap shot Sophie Cunningham. No, she didn't. There is nothing illegal about this if it was set a half a second earlier. It's just a late screen. That's the difference. They're like, oh, she moved out. Well, yeah, your body moves. She's not a brick wall. And people are like, oh, it's the same thing here. Sophie Cunningham is there. That's closer to a moving screen. But like, there's plenty of time for Annalise Maley to get through here or around here. She just chooses not to and gets hit by the screen. And then flails. Revenge. Where did this come from? ESP Ben. Revenge. Like, yeah, you know what? Get hit with a hard screen, go hit her with a hard screen. And Sophie swings it to Kelsey Mitchell in the corner. Sophie hits some threes. Yeah. But like, I saw this post and it was like, going as Stewie. I remember it was like, I'm pretty sure it was like calling this a cheap shot and demanding Stewie get the tweet's gone down. Like, I tweeted it and I was like, this is a routine late screen. It was an offensive foul as was called. It's like, a late screen is not a cheap shot. It shouldn't have been a foul either. You have to give defense time to react. It was the most blatant foul. It is an offensive foul. Like, we only think pieces for offensive fouls. Like Sophie said, screen for Caitlin and knocked the Liberty player off balance wasn't called a foul because she was set properly. Both of them were technically set properly. It was a late screen. There's a difference. Like, you have to be allowed to give the defender time because otherwise you could see somebody sprinting and not knowing where they are and just run in front of them. Stop on a dime and knock them out. Like, but there's this whole thing calling them the fact she first was 30 or Breanna Stewart tells you all you need to know. True, but a late pick set in front of someone so they don't have enough time to avoid the pick. Stewie instigated contact. Yes. Borderline flagrant at that point. No. There's a difference. Watch the arm. She did nothing with her arm. Like, it is the most blatant thing ever. She did nothing with her arm. Like, the whole post was saying that Stewie elbowed Sophie Cunningham in the face on a screen. No, she didn't. If Stewie actually raised her arm and caught her elbow to the face, then it's flagrant. If Stewie bent her shoulder over and hit her in the head, it's a flagrant. If Stewie shoulder checked her in the jaw, like Alyssa Thomas did to Caitlin Clark, then it's a flagrant. This is an offensive foul. And we've got to look at hard contact plays as what they are. So this does not have the same look nearly as bad if Sophie is not sprinting up the BLH. And by the way, exactly what happened. Sophie is trying to sprint up, play good defense, and Breanna Stewart knocks her on her ass. Sophie got up the next play. It is what it is. Like, that play's not going to hurt somebody. Neither is this, by the way. Annalise Maley gets hit by a screen and then flails. That is one of the funniest plays I've ever seen. Like, that's a Lexi Hull flop. That is a Lexi Hull flop right there. But this is literally what Lexi Hull has made a career doing, by the way. She's made a career of sticking with the player here for long enough, close enough, that the defender cannot set the screen in time. And because they can't set the screen in time, it's an offensive foul. That's literally what Lexi Hull has made a career doing. And we got to just stop talking about basketball plays as if they're not basketball plays. That's what this is. That's what this is. It is a purely basketball play. It is nothing more, nothing less. The Stewie tried the hand off to Benigni Hamilton instead of screen. Sophie Cunningham was right on Benigni Hamilton, and instead of setting the screen, and instead of holding the ball and pivoting and allowing Benigni Hamilton to cut, she went for the handoff anyway and knocked Sophie Cunningham on her ass. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, not that I understand it. Like, I understand some people don't watch basketball and they just see Sophie Cunningham on the floor and try to make it seem like it's assault. I'm like, there's a big difference. Had Stewie turned her shoulder last second to hit her, it's something. Had Stewie elbowed her, it's something. But like, this is a offensive foul. It is what it is. Sophie Cunningham, the way she played defense, like, it was going to happen. If you're that tight to the ball handler, you have to be ready for that type of contact. And you have to expect that type of contact if you're going to play that tight defense. This is literally a play Lexi Hull's made a career of. Like, these type of players are why Lexi's still in the league. Like, she made $800K off putting her body on the line every single night. And Sophie then went and pulled it off there. Like, it is a nothing play. An absolutely nothing play. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I just don't get why it's been this weird thing now with Sophie Cunningham, that Sophie Cunningham is, nothing's ever about basketball when it comes to Sophie Cunningham anymore. A lot of the conversation, because she's a hell of a fucking player. But it's like, oh, Sophie Cunningham is being targeted and attacked by insert group that we don't like here because she's insert group. Like, that's half of the fucking narrative around her. It's like, she's a hell of a player. She is a hell of a player. And for people being like, oh yeah, the Fever don't need an enforcer, she's the enforcer. I mean this when I say this, like, she is not the this is the enforcer is right here, because Stewie wouldn't dare do this shit to Maisha Hines-Allen, because Maisha Hines-Allen would have knocked Stewie on her ass. But yeah, like, Sophie Cunningham drew an offensive foul. Really good defensive play. The referees made the right call. And that was it, I guess. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? And as always, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.